In Minecraft, there's an achievement for shooting a skeleton from at least 50 blocks away. Now, of course, on Bedrock Edition, arrows fly much straighter and seem to be less affected by gravity than on Java Edition. So, have you ever wondered exactly how far arrows can fly? I have. And while I could probably find the answer by researching on the far corners of the internet, I figured it would be more fun to try and test it out myself and make a video about it. Now, I'm no physicist, but I do have a background that includes some math and physics, and in real life, to get the farthest distance with a projectile, you want to aim at about 45 degrees. I could be wrong, and this is Minecraft. So we're going to try it out ourselves. Now, one limitation that I realized almost immediately is that on Java Edition I can find my exact angle that I'm aiming at using the debug menu, but I can't do that on Bedrock Edition. So I had to come up with a different solution. And voila! By building a contraption on Java using the debug menu, I can mark off various angles that we can shoot at using some reference points with tripwire here. And then I can recreate this on Bedrock, so even though we can't see the exact angles, we can get the same basic shots in both editions. The way I'll test this out is I'll fire 3 shots apiece through each of these tripwire strings. And then I'll travel along and I'll mark where the arrows land with the appropriate color, based off of the angle we have here. And at the end, we'll take a look and see just how far arrows can fly in Minecraft, both Java and Bedrock Edition. Using this setup here, we're going to try shots at 12 degrees, 27 degrees, 39, 47, 54, 59, and 63. Now, my guess up front is that we're likely to get the farthest distance from this guy right here, but the only way we'll know is by trying it. So let's get started. I'm going to stand in this hole so that we are perfectly lined up front here, and we're pretty close to ground level. Let's go ahead and fire off 3 shots right through the middle of our 12-degree brown block. Okay, not bad. Looks like there, and the best one right there. And we are standing at 0, 0 just to make the calculations easier when the time comes. Alright, time for the reds. Well, these all went pretty close together. Okay, so it looks like here and here and here. Okay, round 3. What is this, 39? Okay, so yellow was what I thought was going to be farthest, and it already looks like perhaps I'm going to be wrong. Okay, last one. Don't expect these to go very far. This is a pretty high angle up here. Okay, let's see where our purples landed. Alright, now it's time to go measure these. Let's go take a look at just how far they went. So it looks like our first set here, our brown, was a real low shot. And we are looking at targeted block minus 72. So we're standing at 0, 0. So we got a distance of 72 with the lowest angle Then red was next. Looks like a couple of these went out about the same distance to 108. Then we had orange, and we got our maximum distance here at 117 blocks. And then immediately, that was at 39 degrees, if I recall correctly. So immediately we started going back down. At our 47 degrees, we got to 113. And then I don't recall what all the angles were. I'll probably put them on the screen. We got 103 for the next set, 93 for the next one, and then at our highest angle, we went out to 84 blocks. Now, this is pretty interesting because I expected the best shot to come out of the yellows here, and instead, it was at the 39-degree test. Now, it does make me wonder if in between here, the maximum distance might be found right in the middle. So we may go ahead and do that real quickly. Alright, so I've added in one final section here. It's about 44 degrees, technically 43.5. So let's take our shot through the black reference point now and see if we can get anything better. Where are our arrows? Ooh. Oh, it looks like a tie. All right. Very cool. Very cool. Well, since that is a tie, we are in fact going to do one more thing. If I aim approximately in between these, this is about 41, 42 degrees. And this will be our last test to see if we can get anything better. Let's go see where our arrows went. Okay. There we go. We have what I think is going to be our record. Looks like our winner is about 120 blocks away at about a 41-degree angle. So let's head over to Bedrock and see just how different this actually is over there. Alright, here we are in Bedrock Edition. And you already know what's going on, so let's jump right into it, get some markings done, and see what the difference is. Alright, first we have our low angle right here. Right about there, it looks like. Ooh, that looks pretty good. Okay, let's see where these went. Oh my goodness, where are they? Hold on. Oops. Looks like I hadn't set my render distance up yet, so let's see. Hard to say where that one is. We're gonna go ahead and put it on that block and that one. All right, let's get moving. I have a sneaking suspicion that the lowest angle has already beat the max distance on Java, but I don't want to look at it until we're all the way finished. Okay, orange, this is about where we hit the maximum on Java, so let's see how this goes. Interesting. Interesting. So what I'm noticing about this is, although this is definitely farther than our last one, it's not as much farther as I expected it to be. Okay, so once again, our maximum appears to be somewhere between orange and red. So we're going to go ahead and do what we did on Java and try and get the angles in between here and see if we can get any difference out of this. So I was mistaken. I was thinking that this was the same as on Java, but no, on Java we had our closest two were yellow and orange, but here it was orange and red. So I went and got a reference angle for this, and it looks like it's going to be about 33 degrees. So let's go ahead and take those shots. All right, let's see. Is this going to beat either of the other two? Oh, I lost it. There we go. Oh, yes, it is. Okay. So once again, we're going to go ahead and try and split this one. We're going to go in between 33 and 39. I know that sounds like it might be 36, but it doesn't quite work in a linear fashion when you're working with these angles. So I will go double check this after we measure it. All right, let's see if that beat our black concrete. No, I don't think so. Okay, so we know that 33 degrees is our winner. This is the best place or the best angle to aim at on Bedrock. Now, obviously, trying to find 33 degrees, that would be a little tough. But let's see how we did here. Our lowest angle was the brown blocks, and that's all the way out at 176. And in our highest angle even here is all the way out at 174. That's pretty impressive. Our second highest angle that we took gets us all the way to 196. And then it looks like our third highest angle brought us all the way to 220. So, the one that's closest to 45 degrees, 240 blocks. That's pretty impressive, but that's not the max. In fact, our second lowest angle gets us all the way to 253. And then just above that, we get a 260. It looks like our little interim angle here at the gray gets us to 262, but our record for Bedrock is 264 blocks from a single arrow shot. If we're being realistic, it looks like these sprayed out a little bit, so that could potentially go up to 265, or maybe even a couple more with some randomness here. Well, let me see if I can cook up a little graph or something like that to put on the screen and compare, and then we'll wrap this up. Alright, so we've got our results. Let me get them up on the screen for you. So on Java Edition, it looks like the farthest we can shoot an arrow is about 120 blocks with an ideal angle of approximately 41 degrees. On Bedrock Edition, however, we can shoot arrows over 260 blocks, and it looks like the most optimum angle is closer to about 33 degrees. Just to put this in perspective, I've gone ahead and created an extra graph for you where you can see how these spreads actually look in their beautiful little parabolas, which ironically pretty much mimic arrow flight. But as expected, there's a big difference, and Bedrock arrows do go a lot farther than Java. In fact, they'll actually go out of your render distance quite frequently if you just keep the standard settings. And while I don't expect this information to be too useful to any players in a normal gameplay sense, but in case you were wondering, now you know just how far you can shoot an arrow in Minecraft, whether you are playing on Java or Bedrock Edition. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you did like it, please make sure to let YouTube know by clicking that like button. And if you really liked it, share it with a friend. I'd also invite you to check out some of the additional content on the channel and consider subscribing if you like what you see. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.